Okay, so I thought I'd make a quick video showing you guys what I'm up to right now. Get you guys up to speed on what's going on in my world. And the alternative name of this video is Does Brandon Know What He's Talking About? So let me show you what I'm doing here so that we can look at this. As you know, I've switched over to positive thinking, not only in my life, but in my search terms. And the first step was to identify key phrases within the positive thinking genre. And one of the tools, the Google keyword tool, but also the Google suggestions. Wow, this my raw footage is somewhat incoherent. So I'm going to try and show you. Okay, here we go. We've got the Google keyword tool results here. Positive thinking, we switched over. I'll tell you guys about that later, why we did that. But oops, hold on a sec. This gets way more coherent. My microphone Camtasia thing is a little bit screwy right now, so I have to voice my stuff after I record it. And it gets way more coherent in a few moments, and it'll make a lot more sense to you. And it's got impressive charts. Anyway, so I take the Google keyword tool, and I type in positive thinking into the search engine, and then you can see I have my search engine set at 100 results. And now here at the bottom, Google's going to show me the 8 related terms that it thinks are the most germane and relevant. And I'm going to take those terms along with my main term and create a list. And so I take those terms and I create a list of target terms, and I sort them out and I decide which ones I think are the most relative and germane and applicable. And then from that list, I then get the global exact MSV, the local exact MSV, and then I take the average page rank of the top 10 pages, because that's who I want to compete against. And so let me show you how exactly I get that average page rank. What I'm using is a tool called SEO Quake, and all I need to do is reload the page here, and you can see on each one it gives me the page rank of the page in question. So I grab that, and then I take the average of the top 10. So like I can't compete for all of these phrases. I have to pick where I'm going to put my energy. So like I look at the word, I look at the search volume, and then I look at the average score of the top 10. And then what that gives me is it gives me a look at what I call the keyword universe for my particular term. All the numbers feed into a generator that gives me a bubble graph. And the size of these bubbles, you can visually see how large each search volume is. And the way they work is they go counterclockwise, big to little, in terms of average PR. So as I'm looking around the circle, I can see that. God, this was so much easier when my microphone worked right. So as I'm looking at it, I don't know if you can read the terms. It shows each bubble. It shows the average PR. The biggest average PR is at the top here in 4, and it works clockwise around the circle over to 1. So what I'm looking for is a big bubble like down here in 2 that's the same size as this one up there. Or this bubble is bigger, but it's a lower average PR. So I know, oh, I want to go after this little tiny one with a high average PR. No way. I want the big search volume with the lower average PR. It's going to take less energy to turn that into traffic. You can see a little bit clearer here. Okay, so once that's done, I highlight the terms that I've decided to go after here in yellow. So these are the terms that an optimized page is going to be built for. And about a month or two ago, Ray posted a list of on-page SEO factors. And I just printed that out and used it as a checklist and made 9 key pages, one for each of these terms. Okay, so this may not look too exciting at first glance, and it's probably hard to even see because the resolution's bad. But it's tremendously exciting information here. So now I've got 9 key phrases, as you can see here at the top, and it's time to optimize those pages by building backlinks. And so you can see at the beginning of the project, everything was up here. It was ranked higher than 1,000. And now here in the middle, I was trying all my own techniques, and you can see this bouncing up and down, bouncing up and down. And then right about here, I just stopped everything I was doing and started only listening to Brandon. I was like, all right, forget it. I'm just going to do what Brandon says exactly as he says to do it. And then look at what happened to the actual numbers. Everybody's jumped up into the top 100 and is continuing to climb. I'll show you a little bit more here in a second. But what I want to show you here is in the red, I don't think you can actually see the numbers, but a lot of times you build a backlink and the page jumps like dramatically. Like this one went from 300 to, I can't even read the numbers on my screen. But here's a better one. This went from 300 to 900, and it stayed at 900 for 6 days. Over here, this one went from 100 to 500. This one went from 100 to 1,000. This one went from 60 to 100. This is called the Google bounce, and it's really important that you, as you're backlink optimizing, you don't trip out about it, because when you look at the chart in this way, you can see that these bounces last for 7 to 10 days. And one of the big things that I've been trying to do is like, okay, what is making these bounces happen? And blue is a 50-point bounce. That's how I track it. Red is a 900-point bounce, and yellow is a 30-point bounce. And apparently there's basically 3 special Google filters, and they are 30, 60, and 900, and they're like penalties that you get when you do something wrong. So like you can see, this went from 63 to 93. So you can see what happens. Like this one went from 60 to 115. It's a 50-point jump where it then stayed for 10 days. This one went from 60 to 90. It was an even 30-point jump, and it stayed there for 5 days. And so what I've been learning in this process is what makes these jumps happen and how to recover from them more quickly. And the biggest thing that makes these, in the beginning I was having these 900-point jumps, and I was like, man, that's terrible. Now I get these like 30 and 50-point jumps, and I'm able to recover from them very quickly, because what I've learned is it's a thing called, like, here, let me show you. Like down here, you can see everything's starting to get pretty level. But in the beginning, I had these massive 900-point jumps. Now it's like 30 or 50 jumps. Okay, so let me zero in what after 2 months, all 9 of my terms are in the top 100. So this chart is now, instead of being 0 to 1,000, it's 0 to 100. And here, instead of having 900-point jumps anymore, the only penalties I'm getting are these little 30 and 50s. And instead of taking 2 weeks, I can recover from one in just 2 or 3 days. And the way that I'm doing that is by just as soon as I get a penalty, I hammer out a bunch of alternate anchor text links, and it makes the penalty go away. The quote I heard was the drunken SEO technique, where in order for it to appear organic, it has to be click here, home page, Daniel's website. You have enough proper anchor text, but you can make these penalties go away really quickly by using different anchor text. Okay, so this positive thinking isn't insanely competitive, but it's a genuine search term. I mean, it's not weight loss, but it's huge. It's like 500,000 searches a month. And what I wanted to show you here is that in 2.5 months, we've got everything in the top 30, basically. This volatility looks like a lot, but this is the trend line. It's taken, when you average out everything and then plot it linearly using a line, this is the trend line for my average search engine ranking position for all 8 terms over the last 30 days. And it's basically just listening to Brandon and doing what he's saying. So that's 10